The best beginner film camera to get in 2022 is the Pentax K1000. Now in this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 reasons why I think the Pentax K1000 is the best beginner camera. But before we get into that, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the camera as well as a little breakdown of the specs of the camera. So let's jump right into it. The Pentax K1000 was made between the mid to late 1970s and stopped production in about 1997. This camera was originally made for beginner film shooters. It was made as a camera that you could carry around with you to shoot your family, to shoot on vacation, and to shoot in multiple different situations. Talking a little bit about the body of this camera is a 35mm camera. It shoots anywhere from bulb to 1000 shutter speed. It has a rewind button that you can see here at the top. It has a mount here, a hot shoe mount here for your flash, and the advanced level right here at the top. It's a very, very minimalistic camera that allows you to just get in there and get the job done. When you look inside of the viewfinder here, you see the light meter, which if you have a good condition one is very, very, very useful. A lot of cameras these days don't have a light meter that works properly, but in this particular model that I have here, the light meter saves me every single time. I don't have to meter the light every time, but if you're going to be shooting with a camera that you're not too familiar with, I would definitely say for your first roll at least, shoot with an external light meter and then test to see if the light meter is working. It's very easy to load this camera. You just have to lift up the rewind button right here, pull it up, load your film, and you're all good to go. If you want me to do a deep dive or breakdown into how this camera functions, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll definitely make a more in-depth video. This camera is a K-mount camera, so you can use any of the Pentax K-mount lenses available out there. But personally, I have the Tamron Adapt All adapter on this camera, which allows me to adapt a lot of Tamron lenses. And I really love the Tamron lenses because they allow you to get super close focus and they allow you to get really sharp images. One of the main things you notice when you're shooting, especially with film cameras, that you get really sharp images, but it's a lot dependent on the glass. And the glass that I have on here, which is a 35 to 80mm lens, never comes off my camera because it gets the job done. But that's enough about the specs of this camera. If you look in the description down below, I'm going to be giving a much deeper dive into the specs of the camera, how to load the camera, what I love about the camera and everything about it. To see some pictures of it again, check the description down below and visit my blog FilmStockReel.com. I'm going to be giving you a blog post and talking more in depth about the camera. But now we're going to be talking to 3 reasons why I love this camera. The first reason is that it's easy to use and it's easy to load. The ease of use is the #1 thing when you're first getting started with film photography, because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing because number one, you've never shot film before, or this is your first time shooting film in a very long time. This camera is easy to use because you just have to set your shutter speed, set the ISO of the film, load your film, look at the light meter to the right, set your aperture, and shoot. It's really that straightforward. Oh, you also have to focus, obviously focus your camera, and then shoot your shot. When I remember the first time I shot with this camera, and I was really concerned with the way the images are going to turn out because you don't get to see the images right after. I started shooting digital, and for me it was scary. It was scary because you don't know what you're getting. You only have 36 shots. What if you waste a roll? You wasted like $50 because you bought the film, you bought the camera, you have to get it processed, you have to get it scanned, and there's a lot of steps that go into shooting and then seeing the final image. And this camera has allowed me to forget about that entire process because I know that the light meter is working. I know that my film is loaded properly. I know that every setting is right. And once I'm shooting, I'm going to get a perfect image. And there's nothing better as a beginner when you're shooting film for the first time than to have a reliable camera. And I'm telling you right now, this camera is reliable. The light meter, yes. I'm talking, let me finish, right? The second reason why I think you should get this camera is because the light meter is easy to understand. If you have a camera with a working light meter, you're set, right? The light meter on this camera is easy to understand. It's just off to the right, and it's a needle that goes up and down Up is overexposed, down is underexposed, the middle, your exposure is just right. A lot of cameras out there like the Canon AE1 or the AE1 program tell you what to set your aperture to, and then you have to do an extra step to do that. On this camera, you set your aperture, you set your shutter speed, you set your ISO, and then the needle goes up and down and you can adjust as you're viewing. But on other cameras, you might have to like do your settings and then go back and adjust and then come back and then go back again. This camera is easy. You can do everything through the viewfinder that's right there. And for me, that's playing with house money, because it's like you can just go, you can just set it, you can do it. And once you get in the flow, once you get in the understanding of where everything goes, you're just shooting fast and you don't even think about it because it's all ingrained in your body. And that's one of the main things I really love about this camera. The third and final thing is that this is a sexy camera. Not only is it sexy, it's very minimalistic. It's minimalistic because it doesn't have a lot of buttons that you have to press. It doesn't have a lot of things that you have to set. There's not a light meter that you have to press a button for. There's not a button that you have to press to set the shutter speed. You just have to lift up the little ISO button and move it around. And if you have a good condition Pentax K1000, all you have to focus on is composing your shots. And it's an easy camera to go around with. When I'm walking around this camera, people always stop me to be like, oh, what camera is that? It looks so cool. And what else are we doing it for if we're not doing it for the love of other people checking this out? Now I'm just playing. We're doing it for the beautiful images that come out of it. And this camera gives me beautiful images. I've been shooting with this camera for a while now and I've never had a problem with it. It's easy to change the battery. It's easy to shoot with. The light meter works and everything is in great condition. So if you have a good condition K1000, you are set. Another thing I wanted to touch on, which is like a fourth point, I guess, is that this camera is cheap and easy to find. It's definitely cheaper than the Canon AE1 or the AE1 program. And that's because not too many people know about this yet. Not too many people know about this camera yet and what this camera can do. And I'm here to give you the inside scoop. This camera is great. It gets you good images. The light meter is easy to understand and easy to use. The lenses are very, very capable and they're very readily available. You don't have to search for it. It's easy to set, it's easy to use, and there's no other thing holding you back from getting this camera. And I'm telling you as well, so go out there, get this camera, shoot with it. I promise you, you won't regret it. Again, if you want more details about this camera, how to shoot with it, how to use it, the different quirks, and if you want to check out some images that I've shot with this camera, check the link in the description down below to my website, to my blog, FilmStockReel.com, and I'll definitely have some more information for you right there. And that brings us to the end of this video. If this video has brought you any value, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel, as this goes a long way to making sure I produce more content like this. Until next time, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you shoot film, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.